lovely house in Oviedo go pending this week. The title of the speech is My Dear Friend, the Mayor of Medellin.
There is nothing on this earth more to be prized than true friendship. That's from Thomas Aquinas. In this club, we hear amazing speeches. And in this club, we make amazing, wonderful friends. Sometimes the two of those collide and magic happens. And recently that happened for me, and I want to share that experience with all of you. I had an experience recently where my niece Caitlin, who recently became an attorney, she's a hardworking second-year attorney in Chicago. She got some free time, a few days off for 4th of July, and she didn't want to spend it in solitude. So she called me and she said that she wanted to go on a short trip. We had talked about taking a trip together, and we talked about a couple locations, and she thought South America would be good. So I said, I had heard an amazing speech from my amazing friend Luis about Medellin, Colombia. And she said, that would be incredible. So I called Luis and I said, my niece wants to go away somewhere. We talked about Medellin. I told her about your speech, and he was on board. I could give a 5 to 7 minute speech alone about how amazing Luis was when it came to helping me plan this trip, things to do, safety precautions. He was going to call his friend, get his friend's son. I heard his wife in the background. He spent more time helping me plan than I could have ever imagined. So I decided in his honor to call this My Dear Friend, the Mayor of Medellin. Just so you know, I just called it Medellin and Medellin. And I learned that either one is okay. The Spanish version is Medellin. If you're from the area, it's Medellin. So you can use either one. But once we arrived, here's the Airbnb, from the roof of the Airbnb. And we arrived on the plane, and we were met by Juan David, who was the least approved and recommended tour guide, who spoke English. And when we arrived on the plane, we were greeted. And not only was Juan David there speaking English, but on the phone, via FaceTime, was Luis. He was there in the airport greeting us to make sure that we made it there safely. And I can tell you my own family would not have been in the airport with us when we arrived. So just so Luis knows, my family's out of the will, Luis is in. They don't know that yet, but they're out, he's in. Juan David met us there. He took us to the Airbnb and took us out to dinner at a place called Crepes and Waffles. Who knew? It's a very popular place in Colombia, in Medellin. It was wonderful. We had an amazing dinner, relaxed, had a great time there the first day. The next day he met us, took us to the metro, and we went to the gondola and went up to the top of the mountain to Park RV, which is a huge, massive outdoor nature preserve. It's got 52 miles of walking trails. Unfortunately, as we got up there, we did get to go around a ways, but it started to rain, and with thousands of people up there, all wanting to get back to the gondola to get back down, we needed to get back down pretty quickly or we would have been stuck. But one thing that's really interesting is you see so many examples of this, but with the gondola going all the way up to all the poor neighborhoods of Medellin, it was an opportunity for people in those areas to get up and down to improve their economic situation. The same thing happens in Comuna 13 that we're going to talk about, which is incredible. Because of these developments for tourists, it also helps some of the areas that are economically challenged over time to improve their situation. Next, we got on the metro to continue our tour, but much to my surprise, I had no idea it was the Pride Parade in Medellin, and it was massively packed. Jam-packed with people. I had no idea this was happening, but it was a pleasant surprise to see that quality was happening there. It was packed almost to the point of being a little bit scary. It was jam-packed, and our person who was leading us around, Juan David, said in his 10 years of tour guiding, he had never seen it that packed in the metro at one time. So that was pretty fascinating that was happening at the time. We then went to Botero Park. which was Fernando Botero's, has amazing artwork, if anyone knows, and statues all over the place, just incredible. There's also amazing artwork as well. The statue on the right, I don't know if you can notice, but men, if they grab his junk, apparently it increases your fertility, rumors say. So you can tell he's kind of worn out there. Increase your fertility. And just if you're wondering, not related in any way to the Pride festivities. That's from my local tourists and other people, not the Pride people. So, but they've worn him down to his, the bronze. So anyway, amazing statues, amazing park. That was one of our stops. Then we moved on for the end of the day to Comuna 13, which is one of the highlights of Medellin. Again, it used to be one of the poorest neighborhoods, one of the most dangerous neighborhoods in Colombia, if not in the world. It was where Pablo Escobar basically owned the entire neighborhood. Even the police wouldn't go there for a long time, and incredibly poverty-stricken. The government and people put in 6 sets of escalators to go up through the neighborhood, and now it's got all kinds of artwork and art studios and murals and shops all through these neighborhoods, and it's totally increased the economic situation for all the people, and it was so packed with tourists and things. You go all the way through the set escalators, through art shops and everything, and this was up at the top where you can look all over the areas of the neighborhoods, very safe. We were there for the whole end of the day. It's just amazing. It's one of the highlights of Medellin, so I would highly recommend it. And again, Luis approved and recommended, so very safe and highly recommended. For our last day, we went to Guadalupe. This is about an hour-and-a-half drive outside of where we were staying, which was the Poblado. Very nice neighborhood. This is a monolith that goes up about 720 stairs that you can climb. My niece and I opted not to climb. Well, they say it's breathtaking views, and I have a feeling if we went, there would be no breath left to take. We instead, there was a Guadalupe City, which we did opt for, which was also breathtaking in itself. So many colors. I mean, these are the buildings and the streets. Just incredible. You can walk through. This was a shop. We were he took us for tea, homemade tea in a shop, and that was my niece sitting there. And then we went into the art galleries. There was also a boat tour, and food was incredible, heavenly. All I can say is at the end of the day, this is for you. Muchas gracias, mi querido amigo, el alcalde de Medellin.